what is real supports? Today, I'm joined by Dale, a person who's been able to take a passion of something that they love to do every single day and turn that into a disability service where he's able to help people reach their goals and achieve what they need to achieve to the point where a number of his participants don't actually require his support anymore or the support of the NDIS, which is what we're here to do, isn't it? So I'm excited to bring you this podcast. I think you're going to get a lot of value out of it. And if you get a lot of value, if you've had any value from this channel at all, I would really appreciate your support simply by hitting the like, comment, subscribe wherever you're watching this. And as usual, if you'd like a copy of my Provider Acceleration Masterclass, please leave a message below or find me on Facebook and I'll get you that copy. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the podcast. Dale, I wanted to have you on the podcast because we met at the Provider Collective and I noticed your energy and the way you communicated and the way you spoke about the people you support was really genuine. So I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about Real Supports and what you guys do at Real Supports.
Cool. Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt your energy as well, Greg, and glad you reached out and we got to connect in some other ways. But I will answer your question. So in regards to Real Supports,
Yep.
what are we about? I've rebranded from a previous recovery coaching business that I had, and I felt like I wanted to move and change and get outdoors a bit more. So I basically combined my passion, which is fishing in the outdoors, with mentoring and ecotherapy, and combine it together where I get to do support for people that have a love for the outdoors, might not have the confidence, ability to access it individually, and pair that together. And now we created basically Real Support. So the business is going well. We
Yeah.
can bring in new people at the moment, and that's essentially the reason why I wanted to do it because I believe people can feel your authenticity, and I believe people can read you pretty well when you work with them. And I wanted to be an authentic provider in that sense. So that's why I rebranded. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And I love how you went for Reel. And if you can't see his logo, it's REEL, so like fishing reel. So fishing is obviously a big part of what you guys do, but it's not all that you guys do. Hey.
No, it's not all that we do. Um, if we can get people out of the house and go fishing or walking, or some people are strolling because they're in mobility aids, but
Yeah.
we will do that. But life comes up, and we're not a one-trick pony. My background is case management. I was a team leader of a mental health outreach organisation. I've been doing community services and disabilities for 17 years now. So
Yeah.
prior to having grey hair, I started this work, and I can do wellness planning with people. I can work in part of other teams and other providers. We can do pretty much anything that you need to do within the NDIS space that helps people achieve an array of goals. However,
Yeah.
I am drilling down. I am being niche in what I want to do. But at the end of the day, it's always about the participant anyway. I'm like, hey man, I'm planning this tomorrow with you. These are the conditions. This is
Mm.
what the weather's looking like. Well, these are locations near your house. Is that the plan for tomorrow, or has something else come up that we need to execute? And if something else comes up, cool, we just smash that out of the park and do what we need to do.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant form of marketing. I'm a big believer in if you can find a skill set that you already have. Obviously, you're a really good fisherman. I've been fishing with you, and we caught a flatty when we were going out to the beach fishing with one of my participants. But I think it's great that you're able to obviously use this as a niche and a marketing and something. But I think it goes a bit deeper. And I remember you mentioned a little bit about mateship and how you're able to kind of bring that out a little bit in what you guys do as well.
Yeah, so in my previous life before I'm doing community services and disabilities, I worked on construction sites, and I worked out in outback towns doing mining work, and I done all these really sort of male orientated jobs at the time. It was rare to see a female in some of the positions that we're in. So I love that bond between men. I love that banter that men have, and there's a lot of men that have acquired disabilities on the NJS that used to be in very male or masculine orientated roles, and I love being able to work with them blokes and bring a bit of that back for them. You know what I mean? So they can just, oh yeah, I remember this, I remember this, and they can tap into sort of a bit of their life prior to maybe acquiring a disability, or if that's new for them, being around a bunch of blokes that can sort of meet their needs, assist them with their disability, but also like have mateship involved where they feel like they're part of something, or they feel like they have purpose and autonomy over the decisions. So, I
Mm,
love doing that stuff, you know.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're walking alongside someone, or you're not saying, "Hey, we're doing this," or "You're doing this." It's like, "Hey, man, we're gonna do something together this week. How do you want to go about it?" And you get kind of that planning sort of aspect of things. So I know it all sounds quite simple, but simple's good. Simple
Now,
works.
no, yeah, I mean, simple is effective. Yeah, I know when I play basketball on like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and when I injure myself and that sort of thing, and I go out for a period of time, I find myself, obviously going down that path where I'm thinking I feel isolated. I would love to reach out and just hang with the boys and that sort of thing. And that's what we do when I'm playing basketball. A lot of it is cool. It's fitness and that sort of thing. I'm getting those extra benefits, but it's really me having some mateship with somebody and actually being able to hang around people that I align with and that I
Yeah.
that I feel that connection with.
A-
So
And Greg,
sorry,
just
go.
before you go on, and that's a big point, at Real Supports, we're not about just like throwing five people together on a riverbank somewhere that have never met before or have nothing in common. That's really hard. And you can make friends from that. That's okay. But I'm a bit of a matchmaker when it comes to working with people. So, I always pair the right workers with the right participants. But at the same time, if participants are going to be in a group, you want them to have some commonalities so that they can get along and they can have that mateship. Otherwise, that comes organically from the worker. But at the end of the day, I like connecting people, so that's
Mm.
sort of what we do as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember you mentioned to me yesterday that you have a support worker now that you've just built that being able to he can kind of focus down on the people that he relates to a little bit more, whether it's be age difference, and you kind of are a bit more in tune to, I guess, the older demographics, and you guys have more in common with that sort of spectrum as well.
yeah. I mean, I have lots of participants that are dads, and I'm a dad. They're dads, and they kind of want someone to relate to at time. They don't necessarily want a 20-year-old bloke that's never had a wife or a life or a
Yeah,
breakup or they kind of want some. Even if you're not talking about those things, they kind of want to know that you've gone through that. So, I took a dad and a son fishing yesterday afternoon when we achieved some things. And I said, look, if you cast right here and you do this speed for winding, you're going to catch a flatty. And sure enough, within
yeah,
20 seconds,
exactly.
we caught a flat. It's on the Instagram page, but we caught a flatty straight away. And you get to share their moments together and build memories together. And I suppose I like to. One of my philosophies is I like to trade my time for people's experiences. I love them having positive experiences and getting to take away that. But yeah,
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It blows my mind that when I go fishing with someone who actually knows how to fish, because I love fishing, but I have no idea where to cast and I have no idea what to do and that sort of stuff. So when you actually go fishing with someone who knows how to fish, they go, okay, put it there, do it like this, and you catch a fish. Like it
yeah.
makes that experience so much better.
Oh, and prior to that though, the young fellow was like, "Are we going to catch some decent fish today?" And I went, "The conditions are not favourable. We
Yeah,
probably may not catch a fish at all." I says, "But if the tide's doing this and the swell's here and we get a good gutter," I said, "I think we might catch a flathead." And sure
yeah,
enough, we did. Yeah, it was
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah,
it feels good when you say something and it comes to the outcome actually works. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, brilliant. So, I want to learn a little bit more about you and why you decided to become a disability support worker. You mentioned it briefly, but I'd love you to unpack it a little bit. And why did you start Real Support, your service?
Yeah. So that question has a long timeline. So I'll do the very short timeline. So
Yeah,
originally, I was 30 or 29, and I damaged my back working in surveying, seismic surveying out in the mining industry. And I'd always wanted to work with people, and I was saving money to buy I was going to pay for a counselling degree outright, but the universe had other plans, and I had to go through Centrelink, and I retrained after like about 8 months of back rehab, and I did a community services diploma, and I just found that I loved working with people. So that's a long time ago. That's 17 years ago now. I worked
yeah,
my way up through leadership, and then back down to frontline work, and essentially, I even worked as an LAC at the NDIS for a while. And as much as I
ah,
love
okay,
supporting people, I adapt and do the best I can. But I really love being out and about with people in the community as an outreach worker. I always have.
mm,
And
mm,
I don't do too well in offices, so I kind of created the job that I like, and
mm,
I'm suited to, and I'm very goal orientated as well. So I've been through my own struggles, mentally and physically, and I know what it takes to get through it. And if you can have someone walk alongside you and help you, the load's a lot easier.
Mm.
You can reach a goalpost if you've just got someone in your corner. Makes a huge difference in life. So I just committed to that process and ethos, and I made a business out of it.
Perfect, perfect. So was there a certain moment or a certain point that you kinda decided, "Okay, I'm ready to start, as a disability
Right.
provider?"
Yeah, as an NDIS, yeah, I mean, I'd been flirting with the idea for quite a while. I think I was quite steeped in, previous models of working, which was, the government gives you X amount of money and you have staff and you do this and block funding
Mm,
programs. But it
yep.
took me a while. It took me a while to get my head around it and wanted to go out on my own. And I had I'd had staff that I'd employed and worked alongside. They're like, "No, we should come out and do this. This is fantastic." And I got to a point where I was like, "Yeah, I need to do this." So I'm kind of go for things, Greg. I didn't have much money in
Yeah.
the bank. I didn't have much money to start a business. I reached out and offered my skill set to. There was a lot smaller amount of providers back then, and I just made that work essentially. So I didn't have any business skills really at all. I didn't have any software programs. I just went for it and started working. And then after time, I put other processes in place and better systems.
Yeah, it does take time. You start off with a specific skill set, and inside of what the program that I run, I have a list of like 15 different skill sets that we go over, because starting right from the beginning, really you're becoming a business owner, an entrepreneur. You're getting rid of that 9 to 5, so you have a lot more responsibility. And I think chipping away and learning those new skill sets is good. But if you can start from the beginning, right from the start, without with having something behind you, and not actually have to start right from the beginning, it's very helpful.
Yeah, and that's bang on, man. Because like I knew I was good at what I did anyway. That was fine. I've been doing it for years, and like I walked into the recovery coaching space first because that's my background, and I knew that quite well. But like I think I would have been very overwhelmed if I tried to enter this space without skills in working with people. That would be probably
Mm.
quite challenging. But luckily, the business stuff isn't too hard to learn compared to working with people. I think that takes years of having great mentors above you and teaching you how to do the ropes and making sure that you're consistent and working well with people and having good reflective skills. So, I was lucky I had that down pat, if you know what I mean. And I'm sure many other people have as well, but it's really imperative for this sector.
Yeah, I think when it comes to skill sets, there's a lot of areas where it's okay to fail. Failures apart, you learn from failures. I love failing. I live in that realm of failure, but there's one area where you just can't skimp, and that's really providing quality supports, because you already had that background and you knew what it took to actually provide supports like that. I think it's really beneficial, and I see it a lot in the industry. People kind of come out of TAFE and they haven't had any any experience whatsoever, and they want to start a disability service straight away without having any support work behind them. And that leads me to my next point. I remember when we were standing there fishing knee deep out on the beach, beautiful day, with my participant. You mentioned that you briefly that you saw the industry going in kind of the wrong direction, and it kind of put you off a little bit. I'd love you to unpack that a little bit. Can you tell me a little
Sure.
bit about that?
Yeah, I don't hold back at times with my opinions, but at the end of the day, I wasn't happy with the lack of skilled labour force coming in and the oversight of that. I mean, you have the
Yeah.
NDIS Commission, and it is wonderful, but I think the NDIS needs some help. It's such a big scheme. It is very successful in assisting people. However, I think there just hasn't been enough skilled labour, and purely because of how quickly it grew. And
Yeah.
then obviously about the skilled oversight of that skill, like having quality mentors to level people up and having
Mm.
great oversight. But that was my main gripe. I'd see people whinge about, oh, this unskilled labor, this and this. And I'm like, I have a lot of compassion for people coming into the space that want to do good, but they don't, they might have they don't even, yeah, they might have only had like a TAFE course done, but then they're trying to level up really quickly without, the skilled mentors at times, at the end of the day. But that was my main issue, I think, and
Yeah.
um,
Really
I
a
think it's getting
controlled
better.
environment. If you can have a controlled environment before you kind of jump right into the deep end of becoming a business, I think it's a lot more effective long term.
Yeah. And I think
Um,
the other challenge is, like it's you can rock up to you might get a couple of new participants and then you might get fired the week later and
yeah,
you're a casual worker essentially. So you're always ethically walking a line where you're doing quality supports and respecting people's professional boundaries, but it doesn't always go back the same way. So, that takes time to learn sometimes and takes time for participants to learn that as well. And but at the end of the day, there is a choice of control there, and you need to figure out whether the people you're working with are aligning with your, professional and personal boundaries and ethics. And it's a business relationship, so you have to figure that out pretty early on when you're working with people.
yeah. So, what do you feel at the moment are some of your biggest challenges as an entrepreneur or within the NDIS sector and space?
So I think we'll keep it to the first bit. Is that good
Yeah,
thing? But, I think for me, we just went over the fact that I had prior skill sets coming in, and that was my
yeah,
comfort zone. And I think I stayed in my comfort zone for too long, not recognizing that this is an entrepreneurial space or a business space. And as a result of that, for you to stay current, and for you to have your business to survive, you really need to do networking. You really need to be able to do your branding quite well. And coming from a humble space where we didn't really like, you did a lot of work and you might get a couple of golden moments here and there, but you never really sort of talked about yourself in that way that you're doing fantastic work. So
yeah,
I think mainly systems are extremely important. Knowing where you're not great at things within your own business and where you are great, and either delegating that or paying for that as a subscription, or you and I shared something the other day about I was like, I don't really like doing the filming and the marketing stuff. And you're like, well, you could do this aspect, or you could delegate that out. I'm like, oh, let's go, we'll do that. So it's just knowing what you don't know is the hardest thing, and I
yeah,
think reaching out is the best thing. Another thing I did was early on, I realized I was having some internal barriers to grow, and I went and accessed a business psychologist to assist me with that, and that was really great. That was
okay,
very quickly, I was able to get feedback I needed and direction I needed, and it was more essentially talking out in my head where I want to go, what I want to do, and feeling
yeah,
confident with the product that I have, and that was really beneficial. I can't underestimate that, and that was Jen from Compass Health in
yeah.
Southport. Yeah.
You probably already knew the answer deep down, did
I
you?
knew
Or
the I knew the answer, but there was some unpacking in there that was really beneficial. I won't share what that was about. That's a
no, that's
bit
fine.
bit of my
No,
stuff, but at the end of the day, there
yeah,
was there was some dual stuff going on, and we just navigated that, and but ultimately, yeah, I don't feel like I need to engage with that at all anymore.
yeah,
But I will if I feel like I need to, or I want to hear something back. Because being a provider, if you don't have a lot of staff, which you shouldn't be delegating that information to staff anyway, but like
mm,
if you don't have a colleague to bounce off, you really probably, it's a healthy thing to do.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's what the benefits you get out of networking events as well is if you can build a relationship and a friendship with people that have gone through the same thing you're going or are going through the same thing, and you can bounce stuff off each other and help each other through that. I think it's beneficial to have someone in your corner. Um,
100%, 100%. And I do so. I have a really healthy culture with some of the colleagues that I've got, and a question that I quite often ask them, and they ask me, is like, I was chatting to one of my buddies the other day that's in this field, and I said, "Hey, man, over the next 2 weeks, is there anything that I can do for you to help your business thrive or help you thrive?" And
yeah,
he'll go, "Yep, there is actually. Can you help me with this or keep me accountable for that?" Or, "No,
yeah,
I'm good at the moment. I'm like, sweet." So, but like just being asked that question's huge. And I just like to have that supportive culture around me. And it doesn't benefit me in any way in my own business, but I like being part of a team, or I like assisting others it's just it's just the way that I came through this sector really. So I like to
yeah,
I
yeah.
like to keep that tradition going.
Well, if you can find someone who is giving and you can give without needing any kind of anything back in return, I think that's
Right.
massive if you can have that relationship. But if you don't, I think obviously going down the route of having a business coach or having someone who's been through that, whether you have to pay for it or not, just or a mentor.
I think it's huge. If you've got the funding put aside within your business to get a business coach, if you don't know what you're doing, to get your ducks in a row, I would. That's probably the biggest thing I'd recommend, Greg.
Mm,
Is like if you don't know, you don't know. So find someone that does know or has done it before, and go through that process. So
Yeah.
at the end
I've
of the
got
day,
2
it's
business
going to save
coaches.
you money. So at the end of
Yeah,
the day, it's going to save you money and time. So just if you don't know what you're doing, get a business coach that's in this sector. Simple.
exactly. And I've got 2 business coaches myself because there's things that it's the unknown unknowns that I don't know. And really, it's that roadmap that I need them to help me navigate to get me there quicker. I could get there eventually, but if I can get there in 6 months rather than 2 years, that's worth its weight in gold to me because time's valuable for me. But,
Yeah.
I remember another thing you mentioned as well, that you take a lot of pride and joy when the people you support leave you. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think we better put that in context. So, um, when we graduate them, or I've out utilized my purpose of support needs for that individual. But yeah, with the NDIS being so broad with people that live with disabilities on it, my background being mental health and my framework being hope and recovery, it's essentially my framework of work, and then
Yeah.
everything else is dignity based practice. If I do have individuals that come with a psychosocial disability, if there is capacity for them to be able to work their way off the NDIS, and that's a goal of theirs, yeah, I'm in 100%. Let's go. And I, and
Mm,
I have I have been lucky enough to create teams around people where that's happened. So I think I'm now permanently graduated an individual, a male, off the NDIS. There was another lady that graduated from core supports and psychology. Doesn't need support anymore. That was probably about a year ago.
yeah,
Recently graduated somebody off core supports. Now they just got recovery coach and their psychologist. So it's phenomenal to be a part of.
awesome.
But at the end of the day, it's their goals, and I'm just glad they get to pick me to do that. So it's cool.
Yeah,
And then everybody else, it's quality of life. It's like, how can I help them reduce stress? How can I help them whatever it is they want to achieve? Which is, I don't know, it's a pretty cool job, bro. like,
mm.
like I'm pretty humble. At the end of the day, it's pretty cool to walk alongside people and help them achieve things. It's
Well, in
wonderful.
the end, you've achieved your goals as well.
Mm.
And so it's not just their goals, it's your goals as well, and
Yep.
that's the sort of thing that keeps your passion going. I love that your take on that because, um, obviously, we're gonna have participants in the NDIS that are probably gonna be on it for life, and they're gonna need that support for life. But if there's a moment or an ability to advance someone to the point of being independent and not needing to rely on this, I think that's brilliant, and I think it doesn't happen enough in this sector at the moment. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an honor to be able to say we've achieved what we need to achieve, and we shake hands and say goodbye. Like, there's a part of me that's always going to miss that interaction with people because you get to grow alongside somebody. But the other
Mm,
part is you're just proud to walk away because you've allowed somebody to own the journey. They're not codependent on me or any of that sort of stuff. They've done the work themselves, and I've got another one at the moment. It's a phenomenal story we've got going on, and it's still ongoing. But I met a
yeah,
guy 3 years ago. You know, I'm just sorry, I'm taking my time because I don't want to disclose personal information.
yeah,
But I met him very, very depressed, psychosocial disability, and I was like, what do you want to achieve in life? And I don't think anyone had asked him, and I was just like, what do you want to do? Like, how can we help you get there? And he's like, I want to be a commercial fisherman. I was like, all right, we'll stop you. And we're lucky because we get along, and obviously I fish, but that journey's been extremely difficult to achieve, and we're 80% of the way through now. So very,
fantastic.
very rewarding to walk alongside this individual. I've got a lot of respect for them, and been extremely tough times, but we've got two good workers around, and we're making it happen. But they don't always happen. But it's such a joy to be a part of some unique challenges and unique dreams of individuals that you work with. Like, yeah,
Mm.
sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional. But I'm
No,
very
it's
privileged
brilliant.
to be in this position. Like, very
Mm,
privileged. But it's bloody hard work. But like, I'm being honest, like
yeah,
you got to show up and be consistent for years. So if I take on somebody and somebody says that to me, I'm like, well, that's not going to be there in 6 months. That's a 3 year journey. So you
yeah.
got to be committed for 3 years and consistently show up for people. So
Mm,
that's important.
it's hard work, but it's worth it, eh? I
Oh yeah.
remember, we were standing there fishing, you, me, and a participant, and there was Taylor jumping out the back, and we're like, "Man, I wish we could get to those Taylor, but there's just no way we could cast over that break to actually get out to back." So we decided to try and go for some flat head in the gullies and that sort of thing. But and you mentioned that, you're kind of talking about, geez, I'd love to actually get a drone and actually be able to go out and drop that there. So with that respect, what's next? Whether it be a drone or whether it be where you're going with your business.
Yeah. Look, the drone's fun. Um, I think I will do the drone, but you kind of want to be in a little bit more remote location, to be fair. Like, I'm a safety oriented guy, and I'm just seeing like all the dangers of like me flying a drone with a hook and that out near surface and stuff like that. So I think I'll savor those moments for trips away. We do with people. We've
Yeah,
gone away and done lots of different stuff. Memories that people have, you know, said they've never had a better time away with somebody. And my trips away with people are budget, like we go camping a lot of the time and try and save on pennies. But yeah, the drone will definitely come in. I have to learn how to fly one again. I last couple of times I've flown a drone, I've crashed it straight away. So I think I'll get one that's very easy to control, and I will do that. But that's probably location's probably really important with that. Apart from that, though, um, I really enjoy people doing the fishing themselves. That's probably my biggest thing, and just helping people level up so that they're like,
mm,
when someone stops them, they feel like they're not an imposter. So, like when I'm fishing with someone, every single time I go fishing, people come and talk to the people that I'm with, and they're like, "Oh, what are you catching? Are you targeting this today?" And I love it when my participants answer all the questions for me, and I just shut up.
yeah, yeah,
They're like,
yeah,
"Oh, we're targeting this, or we're targeting that, and we're doing this," and there's no disability present. It's just people fishing. So
yeah.
that's so I'm answering a question in a different way, but that's probably what I'm most proud of.
Mm,
But also, I just on that note too, because you asked me a question with a slightly different answer, but a lot of the people I go with, they're doing this for mindfulness. They know that I can hold presence with them, and the staff that I have can be present with them. And Sorry, my phone's ringing. I'm just trying to turn it off. And so that's another major aspect of what we do is just providing a space where people can be present and heal
yeah,
that are in their lives, and so that's it. But yeah, well, mate, don't get me wrong. Anytime I can bring a prop into doing what I'm doing, I'm in, mate.
yeah,
So whether that's a kayak or whether that's whatever, mate, I'll do that. At the end of the day, it's not up to me. But I met someone today. He's like, "Oh, I've got a fishing drone." I'm like, "Hey, man, can I didn't know the guy. It was like a kid's birthday party." And I was like, "Can we go? Can we go do that? Like,
yeah.
can you show me how to do it?" He's like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "Sweet." So we'll be doing that in about a week's time. So I'm not scared to ask people for stuff when I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, don't worry. The first time I got a drone, I flew it straight into the pool. So, yeah, that was my experience with the drone done. So, but do you have group programs? Do you have is it do you just do kind of work singly, or what are the kind of formats that you use?
Yeah, we do one to one. It depends on people, but we do groups. But we do small groups. So, given the fact that we're usually outdoors doing stuff, I don't like larger groups. And I kind of mentioned it earlier. I don't just do groups where we pop up next to a creek and do that. That's cool. I got no problems with that, but it's not the style I like doing. And the
Mm,
people that I'm attracting into the business is not the style they like doing either. They genuinely like to target species. Um,
yeah,
and depending on mobility challenges, we do our best to get over it. I mean, the Gold Coast has got some wonderful platforms to fish off in many different locations.
mm,
That is relatively safe for most people that are in a wheelchair or electric scooter and stuff like that. So, but to answer your question, what I really like doing is groups that are 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, depending on
yeah,
people's ability levels, and then having a bit of a mateship group, and then because that obviously quarters the price or thirds the price or whatever the
yeah.
ratio is, then
Perfect.
potentially people can have a lot longer, so we can have a longer day program. So it might be off to northern New South Wales or cast netting first or yabby pumping first or whatever. But
Yeah,
again, it's not up to me. It's up to the conversation around what people want to do. So I'm pretty
perfect.
adaptable, but we'll do that. So more. The groups are more targeted for species that people want to catch. So, for example, Taylor's on right now. So we shoot off in the afternoon down in northern New South Wales where I know they are. So we can go get that done.
Yeah, yeah, fantastic. So I know marketing is a really big part of obviously maintaining where you're at or scaling if you want to scale. What has been some of the insights that you've seen into the way that you've been able to market and get to where you are?
Yeah.
And why do you think and what channels do you feel like you've used?
Yeah, cool. It's a good question, but I feel like I have a lot to learn in this space, and I really do need to level up in here. So I'm kind of a guy that I'll just watch what other people are doing, figure out how they're doing that, or I'll ask a lot of questions. But a lot of my colleagues aren't really great at the marketing stuff, so I've had to watch some things online. So I just made sure that I was covering the main bases so that people can reach me for a start, and I can get my
Mm,
branding across, so people can get familiar with the service that we provide. That's probably the main thing is so that you can. A lot of people are quite shy in the NDIS and hard to trust because they've either had poor experiences or they're like, oh, I don't know what they do, or that's just a place. So, website, get that done. Instagram, I think, is probably the greatest thing. A lot of people use TikTok. I don't want to use TikTok. I've got nothing against it. I don't want to be that guy. But like
yeah, it depends
digital
on your
media, is probably the
demographic.
most. Yeah, I've just found, particularly with what I do, I think it's the just short videos are really important, or photos, or giving people an opportunity to see what we do. But apart from that, I haven't spent any money on marketing at all. Not one bit. I haven't done any Facebook
Yeah,
paid ads or any of that sort of stuff. I could, but I'm pretty old school still. I like connections with people, and I like being referred to from word of mouth and stuff like that. So I'm not here to make millions of dollars. I just want a small business that
yeah.
supports the community. I only want like 3 staff. I've got four right now, but like I don't need a big business. So my marketing is probably a bit different for everybody else. Like, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, no, no. So I'm guessing the way you're framing is that your channels are probably word of mouth and possibly people that you've met from previous jobs or networking events and that sort of thing would be where you kind of drive your referrals from.
yeah, yeah. And then, have had giving good quality services, and support coordinators will chat. You don't want to target them though. They got busy jobs. Like, they
Yeah.
don't need cold marketing directly at them with emails and stuff. So I just right now I'm just showing up, doing the work, and learning about how to do the digital marketing. So I'd like to do it better.
Mm,
Um, I'll probably engage with someone like yourself at some stage in the near future when I've got more of a budget for marketing. But
yeah.
yeah, that's probably what I'll do.
I think in this space, budget it does come down to budget. Obviously, we're cap price. We can't charge more so that we can market more. And I like to try, and that's why have become a mentor in marketing in the NDS because the budget's not there. But if I can mentor and teach somebody to be able to do it themselves, give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man a fish, he'll eat forever. I guess that's a good analogy for this podcast.
Yeah, and on that note too, a lot of my business is expensive. Like I'm constantly buying fishing gear. People use my gear
Yeah.
all the time, and they break it
Mm,
all the time. It's fine, but over time they get learned. So there are costs to the business and stuff like that. But like I think you asked the question early on if I could do it again. I think once you're sure in what your business is and how you want to do it, like then I think bringing in marketing as quickly as you can. That would be my advice. If I was talking to myself like 2 years ago, that's exactly what I tell myself.
yeah, yeah. Look, you mentioned that, you don't wanna kinda cold outreach because support coordinators are really busy and that sort of thing. I think you underestimate the value that you bring. I think if you have a product or because I always tell people you need to work on your offer first, and I think your offer and your product is really solid, and I think if you were to put that in front of a support coordinator, they would immediately think, I know a guy could use that service. I know a person who could use that for service, because it does come down to value. So because I mean, in the end of the day, support coordinators want to connect with people that are going to help their goals. So they want the best for people. So if you can build that relationship with them and be genuine and not just walk in and say, hey, I've got capacity. Can I have some clients? Let them know what is good about you, what your value, your experience. You've been in the industry a really long time. I think you've got a lot to offer to any support coordinator. And I think that's something a mindset that sometimes people struggle with. That they're the big bad support coordinators, and we don't want to contact them. They're too busy. There is ways to just building those relationships and putting yourself in front of them and putting your offer in front of them.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to time too. So this is probably a learning moment for some people. But like when I was in a recovery coach or sport coordinator myself, like shorter appointments with people so you could put in your day where you want to go network and stuff like that. But when you go back to frontline work and doing support work, the hours are a lot longer, you know? So you don't
Yeah.
always fit in like with networking that you want to do. So, I mean, I got invited to 2 meetings this week to do some networking. I was like, I don't have space for that right now. So,
Yeah.
I'll bring in some new workers and I'll get to be able to work in the business and on the business. Whereas for the last 6 months, I've been trying to get it up and running. I've been in the business trying to make sure my bills are paid, my family's eating, and my staff are getting support and they're getting paid, all that sort of stuff. But at the end
Mm.
of the day, I think your physical presence is pretty big when it comes to networking and getting known brand wise. So I do know I need to spend more time on that.
Yeah, look, I think your offer is one of those offers that could work nationwide. I think if you ever wanted to scale and go that big and whatnot, I think it's something that could work nationwide because everybody loves fishing. Everybody and the people you support need help with mental health, and I think there is a very good niche there, not just on the Gold Coast. And to that point, what is the vision of you and where you want to take real supports? Is it to grow and scale?
Yeah. One of my mates said that to me too. He's like, you can do this, Joe. I said, no, bro. I said, I don't want that kind of stress running a nationwide business. Um, but I will grow the business. My main thing that I want to do is grow it where it's giving good quality support. That's my most biggest concern when you grow too big. I've been part of those organizations and you lose the culture. So I think the main thing is just get the fundamentals right, get the spine of your business good, and then if you can scale it up, go for it. But right now, I'm still in that process of scaling up. So there's a couple of things I need to do to feel like I'm confident enough to do that. But right now, um, sorry, that's just my dogs playing outside. Um,
That's all right.
right now, the vision's just to sort of, Gold Coast, nail that, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I see a lot of people go too early, too hard, too fast. And I think it's really important on your mental health, on where you are, for you to spend time with your family, for you to go, okay, I only want to work 4 days a week and spend the rest of the time with my family. It's important that we're supporting people, but it's also important for you to have a dream and for you to know where you want to be. I myself, I've been like, okay, I want to do a certain amount of days per week, and I don't want to work too much. And then I get really caught up and like, no, I'm going to scale. And then like, no, I'm going to go back to what I'm here to do and spend time with my kids and impact other people still, but
Yeah.
still think about me as well.
100%, and I parked my ambition for quite a while. My
Yeah,
daughter's 8 now, she's doing amazing, and I've got more time to do this business now, whereas before, knowing what I know about child development, I was like, "You know what? I'm not getting this time back, like, this is
yeah,
gold," and so I just
exactly.
wanted to be a dad that was around, and I've done that, I'm doing that, and, now I'm at a stage where my daughter's at a time in her life where I can really sort of push the boundaries of my hours with the business. My wife's brilliant. She's got a really great career going on, but we're both busy people, but at the same time, yeah, people underestimate the NDIS. I think sometimes like you're talking a lot. You're on your phone a lot if you
Yeah,
want to build a business, and you got to be able to divide that time. And I value being a dad, so um,
yeah.
yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. So if you were to start your business again, is there anything you would change?
Yes and no. I only learn by doing. So some people I get envious of them people that can read something and just put it into practice straight away. That they annoy me. Good for you guys, but for me, I need to actually practically do things. So I
Yeah,
think I think I'm happy with where I'm at. I had some things slow me down. I had like a couple of injuries, like a back injury, again, and then I had ankle surgery that I was waiting on for ages. So it slowed me down because I couldn't physically do the things I need to do for this type of business. So couldn't walk on sand and stuff like that. So that held me up for about a year and a half. And then once that was over, I was like, let's go. So I think being ready to do what you want to do is important, and then
mhm,
getting organized to being ready. So like having your ducks in a row and then just go for it. So I think, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, still sitting on that question. There probably is a ton of things, to
yeah.
be honest with you, Greg. But right now, no, I moved at the pace I needed to move at.
It sounds like every decision and everything has led to where you are now, and you probably wouldn't change too much.
No, and the other thing is too is, people often go, "Oh, so some of those people that you have on your books that they don't fish." I'm like, "Yeah, but I've been committed to them for years, and I'm not letting them down. So like I can't go all out because they rely on me and I rely on them in that sense. So there is that bit of that law of attrition too. Eventually, you do move on with people, and I'll do that. But like
Mm,
there is some other things that I'm a human being and I support human beings. So I like to have that human factor, and it's all good if you cut and dry, but like at the end of the day, I have moved as my participants have moved. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is like I'm not in a hurry. Like I have
yeah,
time.
beautiful. Yeah.
I have a business, it's working.
Mm,
And over time, having this conversation with you, like you asked me, I was like, yeah, this is time. I'm ready. Let's go. So like it, yeah, it just depends on you. I mean, you're asking me something,
yeah.
but I'm also thinking about other people, and I don't
Yeah.
know. Everyone runs their own race and what they want to do, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. So if somebody, an NDIS support worker or an independent support worker or whatever, wanted to start an NDIS business, as an entrepreneur, what advice would you give someone for wanting to start their business?
Yeah, and again, getting back to our early conversation, like, what's your skill set? What are you bringing to the table for people? These are people you're working with. It's all cool you want to start a business, but what are you bringing to the table to make somebody's life better? And if you've got that dialed in and nailed in, then my advice would be get out there, do some quality work, and build your brand. And then they may already. A lot of people came into the sector too, by the way, with business experience, and I've seen them they just nail it. But
Yeah.
sometimes the feedback isn't great around the quality of work.
Yeah.
So I think you need to find that balance, brother. That's probably as you can tell, well, we all have jobs because we're here to support people. So
Yeah.
find that balance, and then systems are important. Supporting people is important. If you
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing, get your research, join networks. Stop asking people for advice on Facebook.
Yeah.
Read
That's
the
a
read
big
the
one.
NDA read the NDIS website.
Yeah.
If you're a participant, go in there and talk to them, make them answer your questions at the LAC's office and stuff like that. Like, don't just take people's word for things. Do your own research and show up and support people and do good quality work. And then focus on your branding and whatever it is that you're awesome at doing. Bring it more. The better providers that we have that have cool things that they want. I love seeing it. It's fantastic. It's
Oh,
so it's
beautiful.
so it's so good.
Exactly. And that's I love, like I seen at the Provider Collective and whatnot. I love when I ask people to get up there and let us know who they are and tell us their why. They've got backgrounds like they were ambulance. They used to work in the ambulance or the police, or
Mm,
they've got backgrounds and skill sets that they can bring in and leverage. You don't have to have worked as a support worker for a really long time to have that base is good.
yeah.
But if you can bring something over and utilize that skill set, I think it just gives more choice and control for everybody. So, but like you said, there's so many different steps. Your answer, there was so many different steps in that process, and I think, the journey of a million miles begins with a few simple steps, but it is a process and it is a journey. And it's just taking it one step at a time. And I love that you have taken it slow and you haven't rushed into it, because I can see you have the ability to just take on a heap of participants, but you're obviously holding back to make sure you get everything right. So I just wanted to thank you so much for the podcast today. It's been really, really helpful, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to get a lot out of it. So thanks so much, man.
No worries. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, bud. Now, what brings me joy is knowing I might have provided some value for you today and given you the tools to actually take away and impact change on somebody else's life. Now, I believe that small moments can affect change for someone forever. And maybe for you, change is here today in this video right here, right now. And I'm genuinely so grateful that you made it this far into the content. If you would subscribe, like, or comment, that'd be really helpful for me and my channel. And I give all of this sort of stuff away for free because I understand that you're as passionate about creating impact in other people's lives as I am. And I don't think this sort of stuff should be a secret. So would you like my help? My personal mentorship navigating the disability sector as an entrepreneur and a provider. I've been privileged enough to help hundreds of providers start their NDIS business, attract their ideal participants, grow, and do it all in the right way. So leave a message below, find me on Facebook, check out the links in the description, and if you would like a mentor or you would simply like some more information, please reach out to me. My name is Greg Chadwick, and together, let's keep showing up, let's keep growing, and let's keep building better supports.